Lasers. Lasers are so...
90s?
I was gonna say 70s. Can you please stop making me feel old?
Got bad news for you, Sam. You are old.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Splinter Cell Chaos Theory 100% expert walkthrough. This is mission 5, it's called Displace. And the beginning is a pretty tricky sequence here. You have a lot of light, you have a lot of surfaces that make noise, and you have to go over a fence that makes noise to flip a switch, then go back over the fence, and then get on top of a fan that you've stopped, open a loud door on it, and then go down the shaft on your rope. It's a pretty tricky sequence of things to do, but luckily enough, I've got a pretty good method of doing it, and hopefully it works well for you. So you shoot the light out. Then, well, I say you shoot the light out, sorry, you stun the light with the EMP of your gun, you flick the switch, you sneak your ass back into cover, and then you climb over the fence. So somebody said who's there, but it looks like they're not truly aware of where we were, they're kind of just looking around. And now we're going to exploit this patch of shadow in front of us to get on top of this thing that the guy's getting on top of. And it's that moment where it's like, this AI is being the perfect bitch, and you're probably having a really tough time of seeing him here, but he's literally on top of the vent we need to go in. He's just there. You might be able to see the 7 shades of dark, and he's about to turn around. As soon as he turns around, we're going to go and open the door, and it does this super obtrusive animation that we have to pick. Oh, this is heartbreaking. This is all in real time as well, guys. It does not freeze the game, so you can get spotted here if you're unfortunate. I recommend saving before you try, because you can always lockpick quicker, is my mentality. But flip the trap open and immediately hit that rappel point and get the hell out of there. Once you've done it, save. You never have to do that shit again. And then we get to do a strategy that came to me by accident that turned out to be really, really good. So if you make a noise when you're approaching this next vent, the people inside the room will hear it and they will panic. They will not know exactly what it is, but they will go into an elevated alert status that is not an alarm. And it does 2 things. The first thing it does is it changes the location of where they are. All of them run into this kind of common room where they huddle in a corner, and I'm going to show you the corner later on. The second thing is he drops the suitcase that we need. So watch. I think they see me when I open the trap. I think that's what it is. It might be me moving too quickly. It's one of the 2. All you need to do is get their attention. It's very tense. That was it. I opened the trap. They noticed it, and the music went elevated. They do not know I'm here. There is no alarm, but do you see him run away? That's what you want. Once you've got that, this is perfect. All you need to do now is use your goggles and hack his computer in his briefcase. If you can do this, you will not have to follow him through the entire level, and it makes this considerably easier than it should be. So, I'm trying to see if he's got it on him, and he hasn't. He's pulled a gun out. So, his computer is somewhere else. I don't know what I've hacked then, but it was weird. There it is. As soon as you hit this, you've done the first objective. And you've done it in 3 minutes rather than 15. Super effective strategy, and it came to me serendipitously, which is awesome. It's quite a tricky mission this as well, because it's long and it's weird. But there we go. The problem you're going to face now, if you're doing this for the first time, is you're completely unsure whether or not you failed at this point. You don't know if this counts as an alarm or what, because the music for the rest of the game is going to be completely bugged out. Every single time you go to certain areas, the music's going to be super loud as if there's an alarm happening, and there isn't. It's just, you know, you've messed with the AI, and the AI is continually alert for some reason. So you'll notice I'm a little bit tentative of going into the room. I'm just going to kind of wait. Half of my brain is wanting to wait for the music to end. The other half of my brain is thinking, I know they didn't see me, I know this isn't an alarm, so it must be okay. And I'm just going to move tentatively through this first few areas, and then we're going to continue the rest of the level. But I was just checking the comments on YouTube for the Bloodborne video, and one of my subscribers, a guy who has a Dark Souls channel, it's a channel that has other things on it, but at the moment he's covering Dark Souls more than anything. He's basically mentioned how he thinks that the legs are going to be vulnerable to some charge attacks because you can knock the creature down, which is a pretty good observation, but I expect no less from Blood. And that's because I have an understanding of what his channel is and what he has on his channel. And somebody, some person I don't recognise who's just probably looking for Bloodborne information has essentially said, like, you might want to be careful doing that. He has an AoE, so you're going to die really quickly. And it's one of those things where I noticed the AoE, and I know Blood did. I also noticed that you could knock it down, and I know Blood did. And I also appreciate from what we know about Dark Souls and Demon Souls that there will be a way to get those attacks off and probably dodge through those AoEs, because AoEs generally have a weakness of being able to be dodged through unless they have massively lingering hurt boxes. And I know Blood knows that as well. However, the guy who commented against his comment doesn't know this, you see, and doesn't know what's on his channel. Because if you're not informed, which how could you be unless you've clicked on his videos, this is a guy who has several Ninja Gaiden 2 Master Ninja run-throughs with weapons. This is a guy who has Metal Gear Rising, Revengeance best rank videos, Devil May Cry best rank videos, Demon Souls pure Blackwell Tendency run-throughs, Soul Level 1 challenge runs of Dark Souls, like all kinds of incredibly difficult things to do that need a profound amount of patience and experience with the game. This is where they're all crowded, by the way. They're just to the left of that guard who's listening to the radio. So I'm looking for them because I think they're in here. There they are. See them? He's got his gun out. He knows something's up. The other guy's cowering. Yet no alarm, and we're perfectly fine. But it's the kind of comment that always makes me laugh, because it's the person that, I mean, this is nothing against the guy. I don't know him. He might be he might be anything. He could be anything. He's just a shadow. He's ink in water at this point. But it seems to me like the type of person who might have played Dark Souls once and then moved on to another game, and he's excited for Bloodborne, but he's not going to play it like someone like the person he's commenting on will, and he'll not get that kind of understanding that the Blood has. So I just, it's this colliding of two completely different philosophies, and I think that's some of the more fascinating parts of YouTube. So it'll be very interesting to see if Blood responds and see how he responds. Because this is a dude with a wealth of experience on exactly how to kill that kind of boss and avoid that kind of AoE. And if Bloodborne's going to be anything like the Souls games, which we think it's going to be, he's going to be more than comfortable at doing it. And I don't know if I can say the same about the person speaking against him. So, but yeah, YouTube's an interesting place. Because it's, it's a den of strangers. A den of strangers that have just as much capacity to prove what they're saying as they have the capacity to lie. And when you are a content producer, you're putting yourself out there for people to judge, and you're being judged by ghosts, effectively, people who have to prove nothing. And it can be an interesting situation. But you'll notice the music is still going nuts at this point, as all I'm doing now is sneaking through the rest of this place. We have to hit a few computers and do something very specific for the secondary objective, but everything else is pretty simple. The only real challenging part of this level, once you have the path, is a super finicky elevator section at the end. But of course, that's about 10 minutes away, so I'll talk about that when it happens. I'm waiting for that guy to complete his path so that I can sneak back across this lobby, because it turns out there was nothing I really needed in that room. And I'm going to go to a different floor now. And I know that I can comfortably get across here by the time it takes him to get into a position to spot me. So this is an easy navigation to make. And a lot of the missions are like this on Chaos Theory once you have the pattern. Finding the paths is the hard part. Delivering on the paths is considerably easier once you're practiced. It's kind of that speedrunner thing, where you'll watch a game that you love, that you've played a ton, and then you'll see a speedrunner do something so insanely amazing you have no idea how it even works. So you immediately go in and you try and do it yourself, and you can't do it, and you're just like, how the fuck is he doing this? This is crazy. Like, the timing, the precision, it looked effortless, and then when you try, you're like a performing seal with no rhythm, you just can't clap for toffee, and the ball's fumbling through your fins, yet that dude's making it look majestic, like some kind of graceful dolphin, diving through hoops and disarming limpet mines and things. And then after a while, you figure it out, you figure the timing, you figure the rhythm, you get whatever it was you were missing, and then it just clicks, it connects, and it makes sense, and then you practice it, and then it becomes natural to you. And that is the progression of gaming, really, unless you're you know, you're somebody who's been born into this generation of entitled victory, then maybe you're going to blame things and, you know, call stuff broken when it's really your own inadequacies, which I hope you don't do that, but it's very easy to fall into that trap. As I sneak up to this elevator, and I take the light out on that. He's going to come to me now because he saw the fluctuations, he saw something moving. He's going to pull a torch out, so I need to move my ass just outside of the beam, and then I'm going to probably... As if I didn't take him out. Interesting. I'm going to go to the gym instead. So through this door is the training gym. There is 2 dudes in this room, and there is a computer that you need to put to mess with to do a secondary objective. No doubt you can hear my mum's dog barking. I do apologise, folks. He's a noisy bastard, but what can you do? Aside from paralysing his vocal cords, and by God have I thought about it, there's not much you can do. So the music in here is different, you notice that? That music right there sounded like an alarm, sounded like people completely alert to me. And at this point, I'm just... Like, you even heard it then. Come out here and show yourself. That sounds like he knows there's somebody there. So, at this point, I've failed. There's no way I can get 100% on this level. Yet, I do. Which just goes to show, there's a lot more flexibility than sometimes you think there would be. Because he doesn't know someone's there. It's just the lines they've used and the music coming together to make it appear like it's a really bad situation. Why is everybody, like, on an old version of Photoshop? Have you noticed that? It's like fucking CS1 or something. Everybody's got Photoshop. It's mad. You don't need to take out the guy on the treadmill unless you want to. I see no reason to. He's already punishing himself enough. But whenever there's a security access, it generally means there's something worthwhile to see. And that's the rule of thumb that I've come across with anyway. Yeah, we're uploading traces. So we only need 1 more. So this is a pretty easy one. So it's one of those conversations there where could have been quite a lot of sexual innuendo. And I think there's even the slightest edge of it, but it's a bit more clinical than, shall we say, sultry. And then we move back into this room and it's that weird audio cue. Because, of course, the guard is a little bit alert. So I'm going to take this light out. And I'm probably going to grab this dude and dump him in the bathroom, because that seems to be my strategy for most things. Grab the dude, dump him in the bathroom. But Hotline Miami 2 is going to take precedence over the projects on the channel when it lands on the 10th. But the thing that will take precedence over that is Evil Within's DLC. Because Evil Within is the most successful project I've had in a few years, so the DLC is definitely going to be something that I'm pushing as hard as I can. And I'm really looking forward to it too. It looks like it's going to be really fun. I'm just hoping it's really difficult, because that's why that guy did so well. The Evil Within only did as well as it did because the game was really difficult. And a lot of people misconstrue when I say that, as if to, you know, it's not compared to this. It's like, well, that's kind of not the point. You know, compared to some games, that game is hell. Compared to other games, you know, it's a slight breeze. It's all relative, folks. But people are much quicker to type than they are to think, I think, when it comes to stuff like that. So now that we've got this guy's body, it's going to enable us to get past the lasers in this next room. We could have grabbed him and done the retinal scan, but I'm going to hack it because unfortunately I sent him to Cloud Cuckoo Land. But I'm a little conscious of the playthrough for I don't know why I stressed that funnily. For Hotline Miami 2, because of my PC, I don't want it to make stupid noises, and hopefully by tonight I'll have purchased one of those crane arms so I can, you know, make my microphone as close to my face as I can, so there's a lot less interference being picked up because it's all my pearly tones, and hopefully that will alleviate the issues that I'm worrying about. But I just don't know. So these guys, I think, are talking about Prince of Persia. I think it is. Which I think is really funny. There's a lot of, you know, self-reverence in this game. They're advertising Tom Clancy shit on the TVs and stuff, and I suppose your first reaction to it could be kind of indulgent bastards, but I kind of like it. You know, this was back when they put stuff in games for the fun of it. That's why I like Remedy. Now, Remedy will never be a company, I don't think, that sell bullshit to you in DLC, because they seem to just enjoy putting all the bullshit that other companies sell to you in the game already. You know, they've always had that touch and that attention for detail, because that's what made them great, that's what made them stand out. And it's the labour of love. You can't get that if you're some fucking marketing executive who's following spreadsheets and making unfair demands on creative people. You don't get those kind of results that Remedy get. But then again, you don't get to labour over Alan Wake for, what was it, 5 years either. That game would have been out in 2 and it might have fared a little bit better. It wouldn't have been half as good, but it would have definitely fared better on the market, I think. On this sequence here, there is one guy messing with the turret that's shooting now that's making commentary quite difficult. We're going to take him out, just so that he doesn't interfere with anything we do in the next room. And then on the second floor, just above us, there is going to be the last upload that we have to make. And then from here, we're going to be able to sneak into the server. Once we've snuck into the server, we're then going to be able to use those elevators we passed earlier to get up to the top floor and do the final objectives. And that's pretty much it for Displace. But I find this one very difficult to get the path on. Just because it's got a very different rhythm to your standard Splinter Cell mission. Getting a little bit of backache because I'm leaning towards my microphone. Turning into an old man, it's ridiculous. Like backache, because you wouldn't know backache. You know, if it gives you scoliosis. No, probably not, but I also don't stand up and stack shelves for 8 hours a day anymore, so my back has a completely different tolerance for sitting in a strange posture. But I think the computer's just in this room, past here. I was in Tesco earlier today, and I was looking in the gaming section, and I did this thing that no doubt many people have done before, where you have to do a double check, because I thought I saw a PS4 for 229 quid. And I'm like, are these motherfuckers understanding what they're doing here? They're giving away PS4s at a price that's magnificent. And then I realised it was PS3, but the logo on the particular promotional thing they had, it was so close to the PS4, I had to do a double check. It was weird. And I was just checking their section, and some of the cases in Tesco are unbelievably blurred. I don't know if they have some kind of crazy lights in that place, but they're so faded as if they've been in direct sunlight. It doesn't even look like it's the same game. It looks like it's limited edition or something because the colours are all wrong. It's really strange. But PlayStation 4s in Tesco, 350 quid. I'm sorry, but that's 50 quid too much than what I want to pay for that machine. And the cheapest I've seen it is 305, which is probably going to be the place where I buy it from. And I'm going to be buying it very soon. A lot of people have been asking me. I can't wait, guys. I really can't. I can't wait to get my hands on that controller, see how good it is, because I've only held it once at my sister's and it felt okay, but, you know, to really play with it and feel what it's like. And I just want to see what the UI's like, what the interface does. Is it fast? Is it intuitive? Is it efficient? Or is it clunky and worthless like the old one was? I want to see the improvements, and from the bad taste that the Xbox One has left in my mouth, I could see myself being very impressed. And I'm also picking up the Elgato HD 60, I think it's called, the one that allows you to record high definition in 60 frames, and the new consoles and all that stuff. Oh, by the way, folks, as soon as you hack that computer, get back on this cable and get your ass in that vent. If you don't, you'll get spotted and fail.
Probably a pseudonym. I'll see if I can.
We're going to get out the same way we came in, and it's through a little tiny vent inside the vent. Do not try to make the jump that's in this place. I did it by accident and ended up dying, and I put a silly fail video on the other day. That's the vent, just there. Go back the way you came. But I think I'm going to be really impressed with the PlayStation 4, and as I was saying, I'm not going with the PVR2. I was wanting to, but it's very similar price to the Elgato. A lot of the reviews I was reading said that the Elgato had a higher bitrate so that the videos could be of higher quality than the PVR2. And the size difference is massive. So I think I'm going to try a completely new brand. Go with Elgato, see what it's like, and if it turns out to not be so good, I can always, you know, go back. But that will also mean that I'm able to record Next Generation, which will enable me to record Bloodborne and various other things. So be expecting some Xbox One projects while I still have that worthless console. And I don't say that happily, guys. I wanted the Xbox One to blow me away, but it didn't. And it's making me think that maybe the Xbox 360 was a fluke, because I hated the original Xbox, and the Xbox One is almost equal to the hatred I had of the original one. There's all the fanboys like, but it's so good, what you had about? It's green and white. No, fuck off. But the elevators are now working, so we need to get to them, we need to call them, and now we need to get up to the higher floors. But if you haven't noticed, or if you're new, I have no allegiance to consoles, or to developers, you know, as far as it comes to developing consoles, because it does absolutely nothing for the quality of the games. It just doesn't. You need competition to force progress and to force quality and to make sure that nobody gets to relax on the laurels and pump out shit. And unfortunately, there's far too much of that these days. You know, there's no real need to be a fanboy anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I was a massive fan of Nintendo, but I was still quick to point out things that could have been better, because that's the way that, you know, I've always kind of been. These people that delude themselves and get into these pedantic arguments over which is better, when, you know, intrinsically, the PlayStation 4 is more powerful. You know, the Xbox might have better software, but it's fucking slow and it winds me up. But at the end of the day, it's the games, really. Like, the people that are saying, oh, by the way, you have to listen to this conversation. If you do not listen to this conversation, you will not get the optional objective and you will not get 100%. This failed me once. No idea that it was even a thing. So listen to this and then get out of Dodge. But at the end of the day, it's the games that matter. And these people who are ostracizing the consoles because the games don't look that good, because the jump for the new consoles was not the same from the jump from the PS2 to the PS3, I think that's just a very stupid position to be in. Because look at the first generation Xbox 360 games, PlayStation 3 games, and then look at the last generation of them. The difference is night and day, because they understood the technology better. They understood how to get all the power out of the machines they could. And these new consoles are in their infancy. When they mature, when we understand how they work, they're going to look considerably better. It's just a matter of time as they get more efficient and more streamlined in development. So to judge them so early on, I think is unfair. And there's a lot of people doing it. There's a lot of people doing a lot of silly things on the internet. That's why it's called the internet, and, you know, not someplace that's not full of bullshit. But through here, there's going to be 2 rooms, and you don't have to mess with either of them. The one I'm just passing now on the right has a dude in it. If you mess with it, this is going to take you to an office, and in this office you're going to have to do some cool stuff. But we're coming up to the end of this video. Displace is an interesting place. I don't know if the graphics here went funny or if that floor is actually mirrored, but it's a very cool aesthetic. I assume it's a mirrored floor, but every so often, you know, you just think maybe the game is having problems populating a texture. The moral of the console story is you should always be critical of these companies, because they're looking to take advantage of the lowest case denominator, which is the person who's willing to delude themselves that they've got the best machine on the planet when they don't. And they need to kick up the arse every so often, because that's how things improve. And unfortunately, when they're getting hacked and they're going down thanks to these stupid online terrorist idiot children, they're not using any of that money to create better defences against it, which proves that they probably need a much bigger kick up the arse than I would have ever imagined they could possibly need, which is very sad. But hopefully in time, that will change. Because gaming is much more respected now, it's a much bigger market, its net worth is astronomically higher than it used to be, and it's gone from being, you know, these crazy, nerdy, you know, brutish, prehistoric man-children that sit in their parents' basements eating insert, you know, diminutive snack food, and they're all acne-ridden and holding on to their virginity like their Japanese comfort pillows that they fuck every night, kind of just weird vision of gamers. Now it's a generation of people who've grown up gaming and their children are gaming, and it's not destroying childhoods or, you know, opening up their vessels to be possessed by the devil or forcing them to shoot up schools. It's just another hobby, it's just another interest, it's just another passion. And all you have to do now that you've done all your objectives is get to the door up here, and we're going to get extracted by the magic of fading to black. So there it was, folks, mission complete. Everything's completed, 100%, 6 people knocked out, 25 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. You take care now.